Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, June 6th, 2021, and happy birthday, Nikki Newman! Happy birthday to you! She was looking so gorgeous in bright, bold pink all this week. And even before anyone mentioned that it was her birthday, I kept thinking that she seemed to have a little extra hop in her step. She was giving me a lot of facial expressions. Melody Thomas Scott maybe was just giving it her all this week. I think Melody Thomas Scott was probably happy that Nikki was getting some well-deserved, long overdue attention. Especially attention from Viktor. The fans love it. We gobble it up with a spoon. It's been far too long since we've had the pleasure of seeing one of Viktor's grand gestures. That used to be one of the big parts of his character. That was a huge part of the romance of his character. That's one of the things that kind of made you love him and made you forgive him. Honestly, I think Viktor Newman has gotten himself out of a lot of trouble over the years just by, doing something wrong and then sweeping you away on a world tour. Or flying in your favorite chef for a private dining experience, or buying you a boat if you're Ashley. Oh, but Nikki's birthday present from Viktor this year was 12 apricot roses, I believe it was, which sounds very beautiful, and a box of Italian chocolates, and a horse, and tickets to see Leslie Brooks perform some masterpiece by some famous composer. I'm really sorry, you guys. I did not catch who the composer was. I'm too much of a bumpkin, I guess. I did not recognize and probably would have no hopes of pronouncing the guy's name. But I know who Leslie Brooks is. I recognized that name. And I thought that was a great little flower to pluck from the past. And speaking of the past, I love those flashbacks. And I loved that white, full-length fur moment. And I loved the Marie Antoinette getup that Nikki had on in one of the flashbacks. She was all in feathers and some crazy outfit when she was teaching Viktor how to kiss. Was that in her dancer days? That seemed pretty early on in their relationship if they were just getting started with the kissing lessons. So I'm thinking maybe that might have been one of her stage costumes. I thought it was awesome and beautiful, and I loved the flashbacks. I mean, that I have been doing some, we'll call it light complaining about the flashbacks recently. But my complaint is more so about the flashbacks of last week's episode or 2 weeks ago's episode, or sometimes just an episode ago. But those Nikki and Viktor flashbacks were some flashbacks I am not going to complain about. I feel like they really added something to the moment, and I don't know, just seeing them gives me an instant rush of endorphins. The feeling of well-being and happiness just rushes over me at the sight of classic Viktor and Nikki in all of their vintage glory. Michael tells Chelsea that she's been found not guilty by reason of temporary insanity. And then he starts to question whether or not Viktor has pulled a fast one on him. Now you're questioning? This isn't Michael's first trip to the rodeo. Michael has had a lot of knowledge firsthand of how manipulative Viktor Newman can be. Michael has helped Viktor pull off a few manipulations in his day. So if Michael was going to question Chelsea's story, he should have done so well before now. I find it hilarious, the pretense that Chelsea is not guilty because temporary insanity, which means she doesn't go to prison and she just has to stay in the mental hospital a few weeks until things calm down. And then she'll just be able to have the miracle recovery and just pack her bag and stroll out the front door of the hospital. I don't know about that pretense. Something is really amiss with Chelsea, and I'm asking myself, has Y&R pushed the character of Chelsea too far? Is she even capable of a comeback at this point? Or, I don't know, maybe is it time to send her sailing off of the screen? Anybody can have a comeback. I mean, Michael's a great example of that. Adam's a great example of that. Anybody can have their redemption story. I just wonder if Y&R is getting to it. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I think I might have voted to send Chelsea off the island, but I am really intrigued by what her relationship with Ray might now turn out to be. Like, that little seed has completely turned me around on the topic of Chelsea. That preview of Adam marching into the coffee house next week and telling Ray that he doesn't like what Ray is doing with Chelsea. Ooh. If this is indeed headed into a duplicate direction where we see Ray befriending Chelsea to Adam's dismay in the same way that we saw Sharon befriending Adam to Ray's dismay, well, then that is downright brilliant, if you ask me. And furthermore, if it ends up leading to not just friendship, but maybe romance for Ray and Chelsea, I tell you, I will be glued to my screen for that. But for now, Chelsea really, she's got no love. She's got no hope. She's got nowhere to go. And Viktor told her this week that she is going to have to stay in the mental hospital and she is going to have to actually try to get better. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a meeting of the Newman Round Table to attend. It's going to be a meeting of the Newman Knights of the Round Table with Adam and Nick and Noah, apparently. That's right. That's a shocking little piece of information. Noah's now on Team Viktor? I don't know about that. Viktor wants Noah to design the Newman Media website, as if website design and photography are just a hop skip away from each other on the art scene. The question on everyone's lips this week is Viktor up to something? Well, I mean, he's Viktor Newman. It's always possible. He's definitely gathering allies and seems to be thinking that there's gonna be some trouble brewing for him, so he's gathering up his soldiers or his chess pieces, perhaps. I don't know that he's necessarily enacting some new plan currently. I mean, he has said he wants to go after Billy. Yeah, that's just business as usual. I think Viktor's bigger challenge is gonna be covering up his old stuff, because Adam raised an eyebrow this week at a comment that Viktor made that, oh, don't worry about Chelsea. She's always going to have someone looking after her. And then Nick was talking to Adam, and he called into question why Viktor is being so nice to Chelsea after what she did to Adam. Adam seems to be onto it, and we know he's gonna find out eventually that Chelsea's mental breakdown was helped along a little bit by theater. I'm hoping, though, that that's not going to completely destroy the relationship building that's going on between Viktor and Adam, because Viktor and Adam are running Newman Media side by side in a new office, and I'm loving it. I mean, we got a new set out of this deal. We got to keep this set. I'm willing to do anything I have to do to keep the new sets. I do wonder, though, what old set had to go to make room for the new set. The new set looks a little bit similar to Victoria's old office. Remember when before she moved into Victor's office, she had an office of her own? Maybe that got recycled. I don't know. I mean, I like the colors. It's very brown and very gold. Those are my colors. I love them. But definitely the new office does not have enough horses, and it does not have enough Greek gods. I think that the interior designer needs to get on that. Hey! Maybe Noah can help out with interior design too. He's a great artist, you know. While we're at it, maybe Noah can draw Viktor's new oil portrait or paint the new oil portrait for the wall. That office is definitely lacking an oil portrait. I'm thinking maybe Viktor could have his very own brand new 2021 oil portrait, or we could do a combo Viktor and Adam oil portrait for the wall. Viktor, Newman, and Son. That could work. Time will tell. Oh, all of this goodwill is great for now. I want it for now, but I want it to be blown up eventually. Nick and Devon stopped by the new office this week to hear how Newman Media is going to give them a bunch of free stuff for their low-income housing units for New Hope. It's just free stuff in exchange for some love. So Devon was all for it, obviously, but Nick has some reservations. He's still having a little bit of trouble trusting Adam. I think he knows he doesn't trust Viktor or Adam, but he's also trying to judge a person by who they are today and what their current actions are. So any qualms that Nick might have about Adam's intentions, I'm sure it's nothing that couldn't be cured with a good game of basketball. First thing you do when you go into business, start giving all your money away. I guess, apparently. Continuing on the goodwill train ride through Genoa City, Adam offers Chloe an entire business? A fashion platform of some kind? You know, for fashions? I don't know exactly what it is. But he's not doing it for Chloe. Adam's doing it for Chelsea. Adam still believes that Chelsea's been truly committed, is truly sick, which she is. Just maybe not as much as other people think. I don't know. I can't tell anymore. Adam doesn't know about the shenanigans. And so in his mind, he wants Chelsea to have something to look forward to when she gets out. The look on Chloe's face. The look on Chloe's face when Adam offered her that was pure astonishment. You could tell that she didn't know what to say. It absolutely blew her back. So she said what her instinct was, which was no. At first. I mean, I think we know Chloe's going to probably take the deal. She needs something to look forward to in her future, too, assuming that Chloe is actually going to have a future ahead of her that does not involve an orange jumpsuit. Hey! Jumpsuits! It's all the rage these days. Everything is jumpsuits, jumpsuits. I am sure that Chloe could fashion her orange jail jumpsuit into something really fantastic. Maybe something we can put onto that fashion platform. Oh yes, I'm saying it. 2022. Orange Jailhouse Fashion by Chloe and Chelsea. Well, Kevin made another appearance this week, and he actually paid a visit to Chelsea to try to reinforce to her that she had better not drag Chloe down with her. But Kevin didn't really get very far. I mean, their conversation was completely derailed because Chelsea was just, I don't know, by the end, kind of crouched on the bed, muttering about Adam. Chelsea is sick. She does need help. I mean, there's something not right there that actually does need some legitimate, some help. She needs some help. I mean, the courts lifted the restraining order that she had against Adam that was proven to be based on a lie, and that really ticked her off. When Chelsea gets out of the mental hospital, she doesn't need to go work in the fashion business. Chelsea needs to go work for ChanceCom, where the motto is Adam Newman News all day, every day. Chelsea can be their chief reporter. She can be following Adam around town, reporting on his every move. That's the perfect job for her. So while Adam is busy, like building this new business with Viktor, making charitable donations, trying to change his life, Billy and Lily launch their offensive attack article on Newman Media to try to discredit their competitor before their competitor comes after them. And to be fair, make no mistake, Newman Media was and is coming after ChanceCom. But Adam wanted to let it go. I mean, this revenge game is just not his thing anymore. And it was kind of a great moment where we saw this being the very first issue where Viktor and Adam had to agree to disagree. They had their first conflict over how they were going to respond to this article. Adam said, ugh, let it go. But Viktor's not just going to let it go. Viktor's chief objective with this company is to crush Billy Boy Abbott down into packing peanuts. Oh, I think it's really cool that Y&R has shown us Billy and Lily's unpacking process, and that we've seen the evolution of the apartment decorating with each passing scene, each passing episode. First it started out with all boxes, and little by little we've seen the kitchen unpacked, and then toward the end we saw the couch was out. I think that's kind of a cool evolution, a cool thing to show visually. And also, moving is just such a common thing that everyone has to do, and it's the worst. So it's fun to see Billy and Lily putting their spin on it, like making the best while they're living in a sea of cardboard and styrofoam from the old roadside storage boxes that are just strewn everywhere. Roadside storage is who they hired? You mean to tell me that Princess Lily entrusted her precious lamps to the grunjos down at the roadside storage, like down at the bottom of the hill next to the old bowling alley? I'm sorry, but I would have expected Lily to have chosen Genoa City Uptown movers. Or world-class movers. Something else. World-class movers. I've seen their Google reviews. 5 stars, baby! Devon stops by Lily and Billy's new apartment to deliver a housewarming gift. It was a vintage 2007 poster from Indigo's first annual Jazz Fest. Did Y&R make that poster just for me? Is there anywhere that I could purchase a copy of that to include in my Y&R memorabilia collection? Because I have always felt this bizarre connection to Indigo, and it really wasn't even around all that long. Indigo was maybe 1 or 2 years tops, and I have never been able to let it go. I just latched on to Neil and his jazz music enthusiasm, and I've never been able to let it go. It's like the main thing that I associate with Neil. I would love to have that poster, and I just miss Indigo. It was cool decoration. It was a cool club vibe. I love Indigo. And I loved Glowworm while we're on it. This Memorial Day week, can we please never forget, let us never forget this Memorial Day week, Indigo and Glowworm. Put a little American flag on it. Indigo and Glowworm, never forget. And Gina's, burned to the ground by Kevin Fisher. And Jimmy's. Now I was happy to get rid of Jimmy's. That was Billy's bar that he had. And the athletic club. Have you guys noticed that there have been little mentions of the athletic club recently? I think Ashland Locke was said to be staying at the athletic club. Someone else mentioned taking a room at the athletic club. So we're hearing about the athletic club, although it is never to be seen again, I am sure. Oh, maybe the sets are in a state of evolution. I'm starting to think that Y&R did make Billy and Lily move into that particular apartment building simply because they wanted to recycle that set that Billy shared with Phyllis. And actually it was Summer's apartment before that. I just kind of feel like maybe they just wanted to reuse that set, because if you think about it, other than Lily's house with Kane, that apartment that Billy and Lily are in now, or that apartment building, or that style of apartment, is kind of like the last Genoa City home that we saw before the Grand Phoenix was constructed and then just became everybody else's home. And they couldn't very well make Lily and Billy move into Lily's old place that she shared with Kane. Plus, Nate supposedly lives there now. He was supposedly getting it remodeled. I don't know if we're ever going to see that, but I just kind of wonder if that was the reasoning behind making it a thing that Billy and Lily moved into that particular apartment building that he used to share with Phyllis. I don't know. I just kind of wonder if they pulled some of those set pieces out of storage to meet the fan call of more homes. That's what all the fans have been saying. I mean, for a while now, people have been complaining about the fact that everybody lives in a hotel. So whatever the set looks like, I'm happy to have it. I'm really glad they did that. I would be more than happy to bring Lily and Billy a housewarming plant myself. No, wait. Victoria already did that. There was some good, solid anticipation set up about Victoria's reaction to Billy and Lily moving in together. Before we ever even got there, we had Nikki finding out from Billy that he was moving in with Lily while Victoria was out of town. So there's this anticipation that, oh, Victoria's gone, and when she finds out about this, she's gonna hit the roof. And then Lily was unassumingly just giving Sharon her new address for her daily coffee delivery. And Victoria pops up in the background, overhears the whole thing. The presumption definitely was, well, Victoria is going to flip her lid over this. But then she shows up at the front door of Lily and Billy's new place with a Venus flytrap. And she was all smiles. She was all happy for them. Even admitted, you know what? I'm kind of excited for you guys. And I thought to myself, well, darn, maybe I'm being hard on Victoria. Maybe she is trying. Maybe I should cut her some slack. Because, look, Victoria's a human. I know she acts like a robot, but she's a human. And it's not easy to watch someone that you love move on. It's not any easier to watch someone that you love move on than it is to hear that person say that they don't want you. And that's kind of what happened to Victoria. And objectively, she hasn't done anything to stand in Lily and Billy's way. We just happen to know that she still loves Billy. And I'm starting to wonder if Victoria's interest in Ashland Locke agreeing to have dinner with him, which Nikki gave a shocked face over. I'm starting to wonder if Victoria's new interest in Ashland, though, is more about Billy and less about having a new love or a new romance or dating. I just kind of wonder if Victoria likes Ashland, but she probably likes getting a reaction from Billy over it even more. Oh boy, Kyle presented those paternity test results like a badge of honor on Monday, didn't he? And when Ashland came to talk to Tara on Friday, Kyle was all swelled up like the proud papa and the gatekeeper for his brand new family. And I tell you, the smug way that Kyle was waving around those paternity test results and kind of lording that little bit of leverage that he had over Ashland tells me that Kyle is being made a fool of. What do you think, Y&R Chatters? Our poll question for this week is, do you think that Tara rigged those paternity test results? YRChat.com is where you can weigh in on that. I'm going to weigh in right now because I think yes. I think Tara totally had those paternity tests rigged. Tara has got Kyle eating out of the palm of her hand right now. She has Harrison calling Kyle daddy, and she has Jack's unwavering support. I don't trust it. I don't think Ashland is the villain here at all. I think Tara is the villain. Tara has been very careful to not characterize Ashland as a bad father. The one thing that Tara has said about Ashland is that he is a very good father. And Y&R has been very careful to make Ashland choose his words very carefully. When Ashland says, "You people don't know who you're dealing with," I don't think he means himself. I think he means Tara. Unlike a one-dimensional Loch Ness monster, we're actually seeing some of Ashland's heartbreak about Harrison. We're actually seeing Ashland's consideration of Harrison. And we also saw Ashland telling someone on the phone that he is now running his own paternity test, which I don't know if it's going to confirm or deny, or if we've got some time to go on that. I believe that Tara rigged her own paternity test, but I'm not quite sure what the chances are that she is going to have been able to pull a fast one, not once, but twice. Add to that, after the paternity test results were revealed, Jack had a run-in with Ashland and said to him, "Hey, I think you need to make sure that you keep Harrison as your number one priority. Don't go off and do something and create a war and make things difficult for your son." And Ashland really seemed to hear that. Then, on Friday, Tara had a private meeting with Ashland away from the mansion, away from anyone's earshot, at her own insistence. And the tone of that conversation that she had with Ashland was not hostile. It was not bitter. Ashland just wanted to know her reasoning for having the affair with Kyle, for his own peace of mind, for some resolution on his marriage. Ashland seemed to understand why Tara was drawn to have the affair. But he also told her he did not think that it was fair to let him believe that Harrison was his son if he wasn't. It sets up some sympathy for Ashland. He got wronged here. Then he immediately after that conversation, told Tara that he wanted to offer her a deal Cut scene. Completely. Cut to Tara arriving back at the mansion, claiming that Ashland's deal was that he would give her shared custody of Harrison in exchange for her cutting Kyle completely out of Harrison's life. That doesn't track with the tone of the conversation that they had at Society at all. And we never saw Ashland making that offer. Tara is lying. She is raising the stakes to try to make sure that Kyle wants it bad enough. I mean, the Abbotts took her in. They supported her unconditionally. And she would just even consider cutting Kyle out like that? That's cold. She told Kyle she was considering it. Kyle didn't even question it or threaten to go after his own custody rights. He just stood there helplessly while she argued to Kyle that he'd only known Harrison for a few days. But it was her who already had and suggested that Harrison call Kyle Daddy. No, Tara. No. This is part of her plan. She wants to continue to present Ashland as a big, bad threat. That's what she's been doing all along, so that she can then frame herself as the victim, frame herself as being someone who is doing the right thing by next week choosing to go against Ashland's deal and choosing to let Kyle have this relationship with his son. She wants to be seen as choosing Kyle's relationship with his son over winning her own case. She is a crafty one, this Tara Loch Ness monster. Summer has a friend who has a boyfriend who has an ex-girlfriend who's got a kid by him, and she's really worried about her friend. That was heartbreaking. Watching Summer desperate to want to talk about what's happening when she bumps into Abby and Nina, but she's unable to fully disclose the details of everything that's going on with her and Kyle. I was dying. Side note, though, Abby really needs more scenes like this. Abby really needs to be seen being a friend more often and not just receiving friendship from others and gifts of babies. I'm just kind of wondering if Abby is going to be following up on that conversation with her cousin Kyle. I think we need to see that for Abby's character. She needs to be doing some support of someone else and their problems rather than just like making it all about her and her desires. Abby and Nina were both, to their credit, trying to be helpful, but without knowing it, they were definitely not very reassuring to Summer. And that's because the reality of the situation is, it's messy. And no, you're not guaranteed a happily ever after with Kyle now, Summer. I'm sorry. For all we know, Tara read about their engagement in the newspaper and devised this whole plan from the beginning to stop it. You know, the thing that really bugs me, though, about the concept of Tara as the villain is that she is willing to sacrifice her own son to do it. Telling him lies about his own father and then giving him a new daddy at age 4. Like, that is mentally ill. Tara, no matter what her reasoning is, probably needs to end up side by side in the mental hospital with Chelsea. But interesting, definitely interesting, and a good twist, if it's true. But I feel so bad for Summer in all of this. I mean, side note, other than the fact that she's like the most beautiful crier ever. It's like the sadder she gets, the more beautiful she looks with her big watery eyes and her pouty lips. I'm like, oh God, she's really pulling on my heartstrings here. I feel for her. Because she's also kind of paying the price for Kyle's past mistake. Yet, it was the past. And when you love somebody, you should love them for who they are. And it's clear that Summer is trying to do that. Summer had a great conversation with Sharon. Take back your power, Sharon says. You can't control the situation, but you can control your response to the situation. And with that, Summer ran right out to go try to join the ice cream picnic that Kyle was having with Harrison and Tara in her white jumpsuit that I would not be caught dead in. In a dirty park, eating chocolate ice cream, although she looked absolutely gorgeous. The jumpsuit was gorgeous. Tara looked like Marilyn Monroe. She's beyond beautiful. But I would never want to wear a white jumpsuit to even the most pristine public park on this planet. While eating chocolate ice cream. It's just not practical. It's beautiful, but not practical. It's actually exactly the reason why I love soap operas. I love the conceit that someone would go to a park in a beautiful, gorgeous, white, elegant, probably thousands of dollars worth white jumpsuit. Hair perfect. It's the least practical thing ever, and I just somehow love that in my life. I love that fantasy in my life. And yeah, Tara was gorgeous. But Summer showed up with this little toy submarine. Oh, break my heart. Ready to join the party. Summer was in that moment ready to present herself for the first time as a united front with Kyle. Summer was not just going to stand on the sidelines and let her own life slip away. She wanted to be with Kyle. Fine, Harrison. Kyle is your daddy, daddy, daddy. Let's scream it to the sky. But guess what? I'm daddy's wife, wife, wife. So I'm not going to go away, way. Get to know me, because I want to get to know you too. Like, why stand back and lose control of your own life? Go get your life. Be an amazing stepmother to Harrison. Tara and her white jumpsuit be damned. Oh. But by the time Summer got there, everyone was gone, and her confidence, like every ounce of initiative that she had, was completely deflated in a moment. She goes back to the Hoffy house with the toy submarine in her hand. She bumps into Jack, and Jack, fortunately, was able to help pick up some of the pieces. It's hard for him too, because Jack loves his grandson. Jack feels bonded to this child instantly. He's missed out on so much of Kyle's childhood that he doesn't want to make the same mistake with this instant grandson that he thinks he has. But he also still loves Summer. And Jack also still sees Summer as his daughter-in-law. I mean, the two things can exist. Harrison can be his grandson and Summer can be his daughter-in-law at the same time. And Jack tells Summer that she's going to be a good mom someday. Subtext, if the relationship survives. And if Summer doesn't decide to run off to Milan to take the latest, greatest fashion gig. Sally's plan to try to get Summer to take this Milan job is to pretend to want it herself, thinking that if I pretend I want it bad enough, then Summer, who's a horrible person, will want to steal it from me. Well, I mean, it's not a bad plan. Except that, I mean, Summer could totally have busted Sally out to Lauren for looking around for another job after Lauren has been so kind to her. I thought that was a little bit risky, and it didn't even end up working out, unless it still will. But even if it does work out, even with Summer out of the way, what is left for Sally in Genoa City? After talking with Summer Jack bumped in to Sally on his way out the coffee house door, and Jack totally snubbed Sally hard. She said, "Oh, Jack, it's good to see you." And Jack said, "Have a good rest of your day." Like he was bagging her groceries. It's like the Sally and Jack thing never happened now. Even though when they were last together, Sally was declaring her love for him. But it's just disappeared. And now Sally is back on this island by herself, video chatting with a Bold and the Beautiful character who Y&R fans don't know. I really love Patricia Darbo as Sally's Grams. I think she's fantastic. I wish that Y&R would either bring her onto the show, though, or cut the video calls. Or I don't know, just give Sally some kind of in-town ally to have her exposition with. Like, the fact that Sally has to talk to a video screen just highlights how isolated she is from the rest of the cast, the rest of the town. Sally has no one. Michelle Morgan is back! Yay! So is everybody else staring at her eye too? Just like me. I had out my magnifying glass, trying to see if I could tell a difference in her eye. And yeah, there was definitely some points where I could tell that one of her eyes was seeming a little bit light sensitive, and there was a little red mark on one of her eyes, but whatever, she nailed it. Michelle Morgan gave me everything that I've come to love about Amanda, although I think also this Memorial Day week we should take the opportunity to thank Carla Mosley for her service in Michelle's absence. Oh, this story is getting better. I was getting exhausted by it a couple weeks ago, just feeling like nothing was happening, but the emotional stakes of the story have definitely been raised now. Sutton does not like Amanda's new strategy to shift attention away from pinning the crime on someone at Newman Enterprises, but the evidence is piling up that Richard's death, Amanda's father's death, had nothing to do with anyone at Newman Enterprises. Even though Imani still tried to argue that it could still be true. But Amanda called a meeting with the PI that Richard was working with just before his death, and the PI revealed that Richard actually did get the address, that she got the address of his daughter's foster family, and she gave it to him just before he died. So he had this information just before he died. So Amanda now knows that she was so close to having the family that she was dreaming of. I mean, this little girl dreaming of having a real family, all the while her father was inches away from finding her. So that makes Amanda's stake in determining what happened to Richard and why even bigger and even more important than it was before. Naya actually approached Devon on Friday to tell him that she's becoming worried about Amanda, and Devon agreed that he's worried about her too. This is not just any case. No matter what Amanda tried to tell herself when she agreed to take this case originally, now this is really truly about her family, her life, her mother, her father. I don't know. Naya apologized to Amanda for her reaction that she had last week when Amanda questioned whether or not Naya had told Richard about her pregnancy. And Naya reinforced again, though, that she did not tell Richard. But I think that it would be a better story if Naya did tell Richard. I think it would be a better story if we found out that Naya was in love with Richard and that her father coerced her into cutting Richard out of her life and giving up their children for adoption. Like, that would really set up a nice redemption story for Naya after it turns out that Sutton is guilty after all. I do still wonder what Imani knows. She knows something. And I really feel like Imani could be the key to opening everything wide up. And Amani seemed to be realizing that Amanda is getting closer to something. She has taken a room next door to Amanda at the Grand Phoenix Hotel to help with the case. But really, I think she wants to keep a careful eye on Amanda and what Amanda knows. And probably also to keep a careful eye on that fine man that Amanda used to date named Nate. Yes. Imani took one look at Nate and said, I think I'm going to be staying in town for a while. Yes, girl. My thoughts exactly. Imani just got even better to me. I'm thinking, finally, someone who makes some sense. Someone who sees the value of Genoa City's hottest guy, who is basically just meandering around, feeding on Devon's scraps. Give Nate a real story. Give this man a real love interest. And give him some screen time. Oh, love is hard. But marriage is harder. That was our quote from last week. It was Sharon. Pretty much everybody guessed that it was Sharon. Love is hard, but marriage is harder. She said that to Nick while she was talking with him about the Summer Kyle drama. I mean, if anybody knows that marriage is hard right now, it's definitely Sharon. So lots of winners this week. It was Sam, Heather, Jamie, Henry, Sharita, Daisy, Nancy, Deedles, good old Marky, Sandra, Michelle, Kamna, and Kyle. Love is hard and marriage is harder. I'm wondering if, is Kyle real or is it a troll? Kyle, are you real? Because I thought to myself, oh, probably Kyle could say that too. Like Kyle Abbott could say that too. Love is hard and marriage is harder. So I'm wondering if Kyle Abbott himself came to weigh in on this quote. Well, I mean, I think this is my favorite quote of the week. I'm going to give you a new one, especially in the vein of white jumpsuits in the park. How about this? You're not going to ruin my fantasies with your hard dose of reality. That's exactly how I feel about Y&R. Like, reality is such a hard dose on a daily basis, and I just love my fantasy. And you're not going to ruin it for me. So here's the quote. You're not going to ruin my fantasies with your hard dose of reality. Who said it? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. How about some comments? Gary says, look at Nikki stuffing her face with chocolates. I wish I had something like that around the house right now. I had the same reaction to that scene too. I was watching Nikki eat that box of chocolates, and you know me, I got a food addiction or something. I just love food. And I'm watching her eat the box of chocolates, and I'm like drooling. She made those chocolates look so damn decadent. And then when she offered one of the chocolates to Viktor, she said, try one. I want to see the rapture on your face. I thought to myself, man, I want some fancy Italian chocolates to send me to rapture. I loved that. I love of just like the simple box of chocolates. And Melody Thomas Scott, you really do have to appreciate the way she was relishing it. You know, I mean, she almost like practically wanted to like lick her fingers. Like, she made it so real. That was the chocolate moment cannot be overlooked. The chocolate moment was great, and Melody did a great job presenting it. I have to say, I really liked Viktor's gifts. I think I would have liked to have received all of them. Apricot roses? Yes! I love flowers. And I just, apricot, that sounds so wonderful. The chocolates, yes. I mean, the concert tickets, I probably wouldn't, I would have rather had something a little less upscale. I'm upscale in pockets in my mind, but not in reality at all. So I think I probably would have been more comfortable at a different kind of concert. And the horse, yeah, I mean, again, the horses are pretty expensive, man. Horses will send you into some debt. You gotta have some money for a horse. Horse is a very extravagant gift, because it's not even just the purchasing of the horse, but the upkeep of the horse. I think I would probably be, it would send me to a panic attack if somebody bought me a horse. Donate, like, buy me a horse. Not worried about that happening anytime soon. Well, hey, here's a different take on Imani. Diana says, I like Imani's character, but I found her to be rather unlikable the other day when she met Nate for the first time. I don't know how other chatters feel, but I found Imani to be way out of line when she was speaking to Nate at Society. She was introduced to Nate for the first time, and she asked him if he ever dated Amanda before. He tells her yes, and then she asks Nate why he and Amanda broke up. Excuse me? It falls under the category of none of your business, Amani. She doesn't know Nate to ask him such a private question. I didn't think about that, honestly. I was just all for the boldness because I'm ready for the hookup already. They've just met, and I'm like flashing forward to when they're going to hit the sack. Maybe they'll hit the sack. Well, they'll probably hit the sack in Imani's hotel room, but I'm going to wish that Nate would get his house remodeled and we could see him do the deed there. I have a one-track mind about it, but you're right. It was a little aggressive. Oh, how about this? Daisy says, I wonder if Amanda changed course back to Newman's because deep inside she knows her grandfather is guilty, maybe of murder, or maybe of covering up his daughter's crime. I honestly didn't even think of that, Daisy. So it seems a little bit obvious that Sutton could be the murderer, but what if Naya is the murderer? The simpering daughter? And Sutton is just the red herring? That would be good. Or like maybe she had some kind of crazy break with reality moment and she had temporary insanity. Not guilty by reason of temporary insanity. But that's a really good twist. If we're sort of leaning now in toward it being Sutton, and it actually turns out that this is something that Naya did and either blocked it out or is blatantly lying about, I really like that as a twist idea. Astra says, well, I hope Aunt Rachel will have some scenes with her son, Lil Richie. I couldn't resist the Family Matters connection. And I'm glad to see Michelle back. Astra, I didn't make the Family Matters connection, but the woman who played the PI that Amanda interviewed was Thelma Hopkins, and she played Aunt Rachel on Family Matters, which Brighton James was also on as Lil Richie. Oh, I didn't get that. You know, Family Matters, I did watch it, and I think I probably watched it closer to the early parts of the series, but it ran a really long time. It had like a 8-year or something length of show, and I don't know why, but I didn't make that connection that was her, but that's very good. I also forget that Brighton was on that. I don't know why. I guess maybe I think of the main character, I don't know, I think of Carl Winslow, and I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen Family Matters, but it was, I think, part of like the ABC lineup for Friday nights, I want to say, so that was definitely on my TV growing up, but that would be a fun one to rewatch, especially since it's got, what, 7-8 years of content? Oh, here's something. Vicky says, okay, now that Billy and Lily have a beautiful new home, can you please update Sharon's farmhouse from 1990 to 2021? Sharon and Ray are pretty people and very stylish, so fingers crossed you update it very soon. Oh, okay, before I get to that, speaking of 1990, Sharon was giving me 1990 this week. She had on kind of a choker necklace, and her hair was straight. She had on sort of a nudish or more of a neutral colored lip. And then she had on that, what's it called, Burberry? Is that wrong? I don't know. She had like sort of a plaidish jacket that was covered in clear sequins. It was amazing. She looked amazing. I screen capped it just for the sheer, like, this looks like 1990s Sharon to me. She was so gorgeous in that. But I have to disagree with you here, Vicky, about the farmhouse. It's so funny because I've heard that before, that other people just don't like that style, but I love it so much. Sharon's house is my favorite set. I didn't think of it as being 90s. I guess it's maybe farmhouse is a good way to describe it, and maybe that's a little closer to my style. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of farmhouse stuff, but I like the country vibe. And also, we have so many sets that are very modern and glowing and just look very this century. So I think it's kind of nice to present something different a little bit visually. Plus, if Y&R started making changes to Sharons Cottage, I think I would file some official paperwork at the Genoa City Town Hall to have the place declared a historical monument to stop it. What do the rest of you guys think? Sharons Cottage yes or Sharons Cottage no? I thought it was cute the way they expanded her little kitchen area, and it's very yellow and bright, and I don't know, I love that set. And she has the curio cabinet with the dishes in it, and the dining room, and oh, it's so warm. It just feels lived in. Maybe that's one of the other things I like about it too. It's such an old set, and it just feels very lived in, and I like that. That's how people's homes are, as opposed to the, you know, like Billy and Lily's new apartment that's just much more modern and clean lines, and yeah, I don't know, it's just a matter of taste. Everybody has different taste. Oh, how about this? Leslie says, did Adam tell Viktor, let's stick a pin in it, about the Billy revenge plot because he really wants to change and knows that Viktor won't change? That's the sense I got, Leslie, that Adam wants to work with Viktor. He wants to have this relationship with Viktor. I think he wants to be the new man that he's saying that he wants to be. But he also knows that working with Viktor and taking this deal means working with Viktor and who wants to have things his way. So this is going to present a really interesting conflict for the future because Viktor agreed to disagree for now, but we know that it's not going to last forever. So Adam's going to be in this position of needing to make a choice, and it'll be interesting to see what he chooses. Superplex says, do you remember the days when Eric Braeden actually had a mustache? I have thought this so many times, Superplex, and we've never really talked about it. His mustache is so famous. He's the mustache. And yet you're completely right that over the years, the mustache has been much reduced. He really doesn't do much mustache at all now. It's very, very tight. It's almost like he keeps it a little bit short just for ceremony, just so that there's a little something there on the upper lip. But I don't even know if it could qualify as a mustache. I'm glad you brought that up. Here's also something that I'm glad was brought up. Kirsten says, does anyone remember Marissa? The actress Sophia Pernis and Justin Hartley, the last Adam, got married a few weeks ago. Oh, I did hear a little bit about this scandal because Justin Hartley and his wife had kind of a nasty public divorce, and his wife Christelle something. She was on the show a little bit. She played a realtor, you might remember. But they were married, and their marriage kind of fell apart publicly and was very nasty. And he was very quickly after that scene with Sophia Pernis. Oh, people were definitely speculating that he was already involved with Sophia while the marriage with Christelle was still going on. But yes, they've now tied the knot officially and are married. She's beautiful. Marissa was just absolutely beautiful. So, I mean, hey, good for him for snagging her up and vice versa. I don't know much about them, but wish them well. Sue W. has a little bit of a different take on Tara, saying, so far, I really like the character of Tara, although her reveal speech to Harrison was odd, but that's on the writers. I can't tell if she is manipulative or sincere. If she's not above board, then what's her end game? She apparently had money and status in her marriage. She seems to genuinely love Harrison, and I don't think she's pining after Kyle. I've always thought she seems too sophisticated for him, and that their affair had been just an amusing dalliance on her part. I like the actress, and her unique way of delivering her lines is refreshing and believable. She and Jack both have the same bright, unusually turquoise eyes. Contacts anyone? I hope they get together. It would stir conflict with Jack and Kyle, keep Tara's presence front and center in Summer's face, and give Jack some long-needed romance. I am very curious to see where she has gone off to, and mostly if my read on her is all wrong. Oh, that was that last line was from when she kind of disappeared for a minute. Yeah. Oh, a couple things. This is a great comment because it is hard to tell whether or not Tara is manipulative or sincere. And I think at this point it could go either way. I'm obviously predicting that they are building up her as a villain, but it would at this point be very easy for that not to be true. We do seem to believe that she loves her son. It would be weird that she would do this to him. And you're also right that she doesn't necessarily have a whole lot to gain from Kyle. She already has money. She already has status. The only reason she would need to manipulate is if she was in love with him. And we haven't really seen any hard evidence for that. I absolutely think that it would be interesting to see Tara and Jack fall in love through all of this. And it is suspicious the way the relationship with Sally just cut. And now Tara, this new, beautiful, alluring woman who I agree is a very interesting actress, has an interesting delivery, is very believable in the role. Now she's in Jack's house. She's in his life. And it would be very easy for those two to take up together. It would also be very messy. And you know, the other thing too is you mentioned that we were kind of given the impression that the Kyle and Tara thing was a fling in the Hamptons. It was just a summer thing. And then again, you left this comment before the scene with she and Ashland on Friday, but she was giving a little bit more on Friday to Ashland to explain herself. She was saying that he was gone all these long hours and she had it all and nobody questioned her. And then Kyle came in and questioned her. You know, he pushed her in a way that other people weren't pushing her at the time. And I would think that that might be alluring to her. I mean, she may have found herself 4 years down the road with Kyle's child, thinking that she would really like to have Kyle back too, or maybe not with Kyle's child and just thinking that she would like to have Kyle back. Again, it really could go either way. I'm interested though. I mean, I am absolutely enthralled with this story. It's my #1 favorite story on the show right now, and I think all of the players involved are just very interesting, and there's so much potential for directions that it could all go. Leslie's picking up on that idea of Tara and Jack, saying, are we headed for Tara and Jack? I think that was the purpose of Kyle's other woman being older all along. And if so, And if so, that's the kind of writing I love. It would somehow feel full circle to me, with Jack basically originating as the guy sleeping with his dad's wife Jill so that he could have the same bond with his son of having slept with the same woman. That makes Harrison kind of the Billy in this situation. I keep picturing a scene of Tara sitting by the pool with a sun reflector held to her face for tanning, a la Jill in the 1980s. I easily see Tara fitting into the Jill role if they liven her up a bit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know we've kind of been kicking that idea around a little bit too, that we're sort of taking Jack back to the roots of some of his early days and some of his decisions, and we've been kind of wanting to tie that in with Kyle. So I think this is a very good point. It's definitely a possibility of bringing Jack back to that full circle moment. And did you guys, speaking of Jill, hear that Jess Walton's husband was just re-diagnosed with cancer? I think he must have had it and it had gone into remission and now it's back. That's really sad. I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't even know that her family was going through that. But yeah, that's very sad to hear. But I imagine we're not going to be seeing her on the show because of that. She needs to focus on her family right now. But I do love the mention of classic 1980s Jill. That has a fantastic draw for me, too. And I think that Tara fitting into that role is a really interesting idea. I think this actress has the chops to do something like that. But it's really only going to work if the twist of her being a baddie, like I'm predicting, doesn't turn out. Jamie seems to agree with me, saying Miss Tara is a sneaky snake. My heart is so sad for Summer right now. It's one thing to see Kyle instantly springing into dad mode. It's a whole new mess of emotions seeing him get cozy with Tara and being super protective of her. Yeah, I know, it's true. The relationship, that's Summer's plight. The relationship with Harrison would be enough she could handle that. But it's the fact that Tara is right there needing support and that Kyle's more than happy to be there and is feeding it, in fact, by saying to Tara that you're my priority now. That's the piece of the puzzle that doesn't quite make Summer feel secure enough maybe to assert herself, which is what she needs to do. Calmness says, for weeks I couldn't put my finger on it, and now I finally did. Tara gives me Cassandra Rawlings vibes. Oh, so you're getting villain vibes from her too. And Cassandra Rawlings, boy, that's a good pull. I think she had some interactions with Paul, Viktor, Brad. Yeah, she was a baddie and she was around for a while. So I guess it's possible that Tara could be a bad girl and she could stay. I really like her too. But gosh, it's hard to choose between like really liking Tara and feeling so bad for Summer. I asked you guys last week if you think that Summer and Kyle are gonna make it. Are they gonna make it down the aisle? And I am blown away by these results. 85% of you, 85, say no. This is the beginning of the end for Summer and Kyle. I voted with the 15% minority, thinking that Kyle and Summer are going to have a happy ending at the end of this and not too far around the corner. But again, I think it all plays into my theory. I feel like Ashland is going to get that paternity test result back. It's going to show that he actually is Harrison's father, and I feel like it's going to happen within the next couple of weeks. I don't see Kyle if Tara's pulling a fast one, I don't see Kyle traveling down this path for too much longer before the reveal happens. But I could be completely wrong. Tara could be being honest. She could be and have not manipulated the paternity test results at all. She could be here to stay. Summer could take a break from the show. She could move in another direction. But gosh, I just thought, well, I think this is going to be a little bit of a short stop on the way to the altar for Kyle and Summer. But you guys are saying, no, you just think Summer and Kyle are done for now, at least for the foreseeable future, and both of them are just going to go into other direction. Mark says they may prepare to walk down the aisle, but it will not come to fruition, maybe in a few years. Marianne V says, I agree. Kyle will keep throwing Tara and his son in Summer's face, and she will leave town for a while. Tara will go after Kyle, and they may get together for a while, but Kyle will always go back to Summer in the end, just like he did with Lola. Yeah, I see Kyle and Summer coming back together. I just don't see it years down the road. I'm just so shocked that you guys think it's done for now. Sharita says Tara is going to manipulate the situation to her advantage, forcing Kyle to choose between Harrison and Summer. I can see something to the like of the lawyers saying that Tara has a better chance for custody if she can show a two-parent home, forcing Kyle to move back into the Abbott house, etc. Well, now, Sharita, maybe that is Tara's next move. Ding, 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 Sharita, I think you hit on it. Tara left us on Friday to go talk to her lawyers. So maybe Tara comes back to Kyle and says, okay, I won't cut you out of Harrison's life. I won't take Ashlyn's deal. But my lawyers say that then the only way to win my case would be to present a two-person family to the judge. And then this is what drives Summer to take the Milan job. And sorry, but that plays right into my theory too, that Tara is manipulating and that what she really wants at the end of this is Kyle. Now, whether or not Harrison actually is his kid, I don't know. But I feel like there's shades of manipulation going on here with Tara. I just don't know exactly what. Good comment. Wow. Well, T. Nicole says, I was wondering if there should be more of a conversation about how Summer will play a role in Harrison's life. Even though they postponed the wedding for now, Kyle and Summer are still engaged, and if they got married, she would be Harrison's stepmother, given that Kyle is the father role in Harrison's life. That is missing, T. Nicole. That's the thing. Summer really has stepped back. She has almost been decidedly not fighting for Kyle. But if the intention is for Kyle and Summer to get married, no matter what the actual date is, then Summer should be there with Kyle presenting the united front. She should be there in at least some of the interactions with Harrison. I don't even think that we have seen Harrison meet Summer at all. Summer has allowed herself to be isolated and on the outside of the situation, I think in her mind, because it's the best thing for Harrison. We don't want to cause him any unnecessary stress. I mean, it's a lot to handle for a kid to understand the concept of the parents that you've known divorcing, separating, and now you've got this new daddy. I mean, it's a lot for a kid. So I understand why Summer has stepped back, but at the same time, it's better to present how it's going to be right from the beginning. You know, she should be showing herself with Kyle from the beginning to establish what that's going to look like. Yes, you have a new daddy, but Kyle should be drawing Summer in and saying, we had the conversation about me being his father. Now we're going to have the conversation about you being the stepmother. And that's not happening. Kyle's definitely failing Summer here. But I also think that Summer is not asserting herself. Victoria says, I appreciated the conversation that Jack had with Summer. Even though Jack is excited about becoming a grandfather and supporting his son, he took the time to sympathize with Summer. He treated her like a mature adult who can make her own decisions. He reinforced Kyle and Summer's history and told her that he has faith in their relationship and that it will endure and that she will be an amazing mother. Rightly so, Summer is very concerned about everything moving too quickly. The question is, will she be able to hang in there, or will Tara get her way and Summer cuts her bond with Kyle? T. Nicole also says, I would love for Summer to get pregnant and announce it to Kyle during this time just to see how that twist would play out. Kyle is all about Harrison and Tara. But if Summer got pregnant, he would then have to balance another child coming on the way as well. And I would find that very entertaining. Oh, Tina Cole! Kyle and Summer did have sex this week. But I have got to start resisting the urge of predicting a pregnancy because it just never pans out anymore. It's like every time there's sex, we anticipate and expect that there's going to be a pregnancy, and the more we expect it, the less it happens. Nobody ever gets pregnant on this show. The one pregnancy we've had recently didn't even happen through sex. Okay, everybody. This has been a fun one. Again, the show is good. Like, this is the show that I would recommend people watch. You know, there have definitely been some years and some periods of Y&R where I would not tell someone to watch this show. I would not be like, oh yeah, you got to get into The Young and the Restless. It's so good. There have definitely been some periods where I would not bother to tell anybody to get into it. But this is definitely a good period where I would encourage people to get into it. I really hope the ratings are up. I don't know anything about that, but I really hope that the way I'm feeling about the show is the way that other people are feeling about the show, and I hope that it's reflected in the ratings, and that the people that are doing the good work get props for it, and that they can see the results, draw in new fans. Let's push The Young and the Restless to another 10 years, 20 years, 45 years. Oh, I guess I'm a cheerleader for Y&R. I just love it. Well, I hope you loved it too this week. Hope you love the show right now. Hope you had fun during this Y&R chat. Go to yrchat.com to leave your comments. I always love hearing from you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.